Imagine this scene. It's like something from a movie, a real high-stakes thriller. You've got this massive engine roaring to life, flames just erupting, almost like a dragon waking up, just furious power. But this isn't special effects. This actually just happened. Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're going deep into a development that, honestly, could reshape global power. Our mission, to unpack this moment, the how, the why, and really what comes next for all of us.
And this moment, it's very real. September 8th, 2025, an isolated nation, but one that's incredibly persistent, announces this tech milestone. It really demands our attention. And this wasn't just, another test. No, this is a major leap, a calculated one. They're pushing for faster, stealthier, much more reliable long-range weapons. So the core question really is, how did they get here? And what does this actually mean for the world, for stability?
Okay, let's get right into the raw power then. The event itself. Kim Jong Un, personally overseeing what their state media called the final ground test. Revolutionary solid-fuel rocket engine, that's the key phrase. The news hit the world September 9th, 2025. And the images, wow. They tell a story. We're talking about an engine packing, 1,971 kilonewtons of thrust.
That's right, 1,971. It's a huge number.
Huge. To put that into perspective for you, try imagining the force needed to lift, I don't know, dozens of fully loaded semi-trucks straight up.
Yeah, it's an incredible amount of sustained force.
And it's built for one thing, right? Long-range ballistic missiles.
Exactly. This brings them much closer to deploying a new generation of ICBMs, specifically the one everyone's talking about, the Hwasong-20 system.
So this ground test, why is that phrasing significant? It sounds kind of routine.
It's anything but routine. This is the culmination of years, maybe even decades, of secret research, intense engineering, huge national effort. This test, it puts them much closer to having a really capable, strategically dangerous arsenal, more so than before. It's a bold step, no question. Developing weapons that can genuinely reach targets practically anywhere on the globe, it fundamentally changes the threat landscape.
Right, and to really get how big a deal this is, we need to look back a bit, don't we? This didn't just happen overnight.
Not at all. It's a long story of persistence, really, especially given their isolation.
Their missile journey, it goes way back. Started dabbling in the 50s, right? With some Soviet help initially.
Yes, rudimentary beginnings. Then, by the 90s, even while facing severe famines, crippling economic problems, they were testing short-range missiles.
But the real push, the acceleration that came under Kim Jong Un since 2011.
Definitely. That led to things like the Hwasong-15 test in 2017, an ICBM that could, theoretically at least, hit the U.S. mainland. But that was a different technology.
Okay, so that brings us to the big shift. Liquid versus solid fuel. Explain that for us.
Yeah, this is the real game changer. Think of their older liquid fuel missiles like preparing a fancy, complicated meal, a gourmet meal.
Okay.
It takes ages, it's messy. You have to mix these volatile chemicals, the fuel and the oxidizer, right there on the launch site. That can take hours. Then you pump it all into the rocket.
Which makes them easy to spot.
Exactly. Easy to detect and very vulnerable. An adversary has a big window to potentially take it out before it even launches.
So if that's the complicated gourmet meal, what's this new solid fuel like? How does it change things?
Solid fuel. That's totally different. Imagine prepackaged meals, ready to eat.
Okay, simpler, faster.
Much faster. Everything's already mixed, cured, stable, stored, fully fueled. This means they can launch in minutes, not hours, minutes.
Wow, okay. That drastically cuts down reaction time.
Hugely. And they're easier to hide. Think tunnels, hidden mobile launchers moving around. Much harder for satellites or spies to find before it's too late. It gives them a critical surprise attack edge. It forces everyone else to rethink intelligence, rethink defense.
And this move to solid fuel,
Yeah.
when did that really kick into high gear?
It seems like it gained real momentum around 2019, right after the nuclear talks with the U.S. and Hanoi collapsed.
The Hanoi summit failure.
Yeah, they clearly saw that as a dead end for diplomacy at that point. And that led straight to this massive ramp up in testing. Over 90 launches in 2022 alone, a record year. It showed a clear strategic pivot.
That gourmet meal versus prepackaged meal analogy really works. It's like trading in an old, unreliable car you have to tinker with constantly for a sleek electric vehicle. Plug and play. It can just zip off before anyone really knows what's happening.
That's a good way to put it.
And look, we should say, this tech itself isn't brand new globally, is it?
Yeah.
The U.S., Russia, China, they've had solid fuel missiles for decades.
True, it's established technology elsewhere. But mastering it domestically under heavy sanctions, total isolation, That's a massive achievement for them. It suggests, not just impressive engineering resolve, but maybe also a pretty robust, shall we say, alternative network for getting advanced know-how or materials.
Okay, let's dig into the tech a bit more. What's under the hood of this new engine? You mentioned advanced materials.
Yes, it's crafted from advanced carbon fiber composites. And that's not just a detail, it's strategically important. It makes the engine lighter, much more durable, which translates directly into bigger payloads, more warheads, potentially, or longer range.
Without making it too heavy to move around easily.
Exactly, without sacrificing mobility.
Yeah.
It's the same kind of stuff you find in, say, high-end racing bikes or Formula One cars.
Right. Strong but light.
And crucially, it resists extreme heat. Thousands of degrees inside that combustion chamber. You need materials that won't just melt.
And the fuel itself is
Ugh.
solid propellant.
It's a precisely engineered mix. Fuel and oxidizer bound together in a stable, rubbery matrix. You ignite it, and it burns like a giant, very powerful firework. And here's a key thing. Once it's lit, you can't really shut it off. It burns until it's gone.
No turning back.
Which is exactly what you want for military reliability. Immediate, unstoppable thrust.
And they tested this thing a lot, right? These static tests.
Reports say 8 static firing tests over 2 years, just refining the design, tweaking it. Static tests are like revving a car engine really hard in a garage. It's safe, controlled, but it tells you a lot about how it'll perform for real.
What's amazing is the speed they achieved this at, given the oscillation. Reverse engineering, innovating with limited data.
It's remarkable. Other nations often took much longer, even with open access to global science and industry.
So does that point more towards clever acquisition, black markets perhaps, or genuine homegrown innovation? And what about the people involved and the leader's role?
It's probably a mix, honestly. Ingenious ways of getting what they need combined with sheer domestic determination. And when you talk about leadership, Kim Jong Un wasn't just at the test, he was the star.
Right, the picture showed him beaming, signature black coat, smoke and fire all around.
Exactly. He reportedly called it eye-opening, a significant change for their nuclear arsenal. And that serves 2 crucial purposes. 1, it is a major scientific step. But 2, it's powerful propaganda.
Rallies the public, reinforces that Juche idea of self-reliance.
Precisely. Self-reliance, national strength. And think about the human cost or effort behind it. Engineers working in isolation under immense pressure. Failure isn't really an option. But successes like this, they bring rewards, status, and a huge morale boost. It reinforces the regime's focus on military power above all else.
That makes total sense. It's more than just hardware, it's a symbol. But this test, it didn't happen in a vacuum, did it? How does it fit onto the global chessboard?
No, definitely not in a vacuum. It's part of a much bigger, calculated push to modernize while global alliances are shifting. And what's really interesting here is how Kim has been deliberately deepening ties with Russia and China recently.
We've seen reports sending troops, equipment to help Russia and Ukraine.
Yes, reportedly. Potentially in exchange for advanced tech know-how, that would be a huge gain for them. Maybe guidance systems, re-entry vehicle tech, things they've struggled with.
And China.
Just last week, September 9th, their founding anniversary, Xi Jinping sent a letter urging strategic communication. That's a strong signal. And Kim was just in Beijing for a military parade, seen rubbing shoulders with both Xi and Putin.
So it's a clear strategy, align with anti-Western powers.
It looks like it. Undermine U.S. influence, gain breathing room, maybe get direct help for their weapons programs. That could really change their long-term capabilities.
Okay, if that's the strategy, what's the fallout? How are other countries reacting, especially those nearby?
Oh, the reactions are immediate. You can feel the tension. South Korea, obviously, is on high alert across the DMZ. Their Joint Chiefs spokesperson, Lee Sung-joon, basically said a full flight test of this ICBM is almost inevitable now if they've perfected the engine. Requires constant watching, new assessments.
You can see it on the streets.
Yeah, reports say commuters in Seoul see the test footage flashing on station TVs, a daily reminder of the threat next door.
What about the U.S. under a second Trump administration?
No official statement just yet, but based on past actions, expect condemnation at the UN Security Council. Maybe more sanctions, though their effectiveness is always debated.
In Japan, they're often in the flight path.
For Japan, this is definitely another major provocation. Likely triggers more air raid drills, fuels debates about boosting their own defenses, maybe even counterstrike capabilities. It ripples through their entire security posture.
That's a lot of pressure building up.
Yeah.
So, connecting the dots. What are the real stakes here, short-term and long-term? What's likely next?
Well, looking ahead, analysts widely think this engine test is paving the way for a big, dramatic ICBM launch, maybe by the end of the year, possibly timed just before a major Workers' Party Congress in early 2026. A big show of strength.
Flexing muscles before potential talks.
Exactly. Put pressure on Washington. Force them to recognize North Korea as a nuclear state. Maybe offer concessions like easing sanctions. And remember, those sanctions have hurt their economy badly. But the regime consistently prioritizes defense over public welfare. That commitment seems unwavering.
What are the concrete dangers, though? What could go wrong?
A miscalculation is the big one. A launch that goes wrong, veers off course, may be perceived as an attack that could escalate fast. It could trigger defensive systems like Thaeshad in South Korea or Aegis ships at sea. Then what happens?
And the missile itself, the Hwasong-20.
If it can carry multiple warheads, MIRVs, that makes it incredibly hard to intercept, like trying to shoot down multiple bullets at once. Plus, there's still the huge technical challenge of ensuring the warhead survives re-entry. Coming back through the atmosphere is brutal, like a meteor needing a heat shield.
And there are warnings about other possibilities, too. Smaller missiles, submarines.
Yes, the potential for smaller, mobile, solid-fuel missiles, maybe even submarine-launched ones down the line, that extends their reach unpredictably, makes deterrence way more complicated.
It sounds pretty bleak. But despite all the saber-rattling, sometimes these big provocations, they lead to talks, right? History shows that.
That's true. Breakthroughs can follow crises.
I mean, think back to 2018, Singapore, Kim and Trump. With Trump back in office now, could we see a round two?
It's possible. Kim's strategy seems to be about building strength so he can negotiate from what he sees as a position of equality, not weakness. Force recognition.
So let's bring it back to the listener. What does all this mean for you?
Yeah, it's a really powerful reminder, isn't it? How events that seem far away, these technical advances, these geopolitical games can actually ripple right across the world. They affect markets, alliances, ultimately our collective security. Understanding this stuff, it's not just about being informed. It equips you, really, to navigate this increasingly complex world, gives you context for the headlines.
So today, we took a deep dive into North Korea's big solid fuel engine test from September 8th, 2025. Huge implications. We looked at the sheer power, traced the long road they took to get here, unpack the leader's very personal role, and weigh the impact on global dynamics, alliances, everything.
And this test, it's really not just about engineering. It's a clear statement, an unmistakable one from an isolated but incredibly determined nation. They're demanding attention. They're challenging the current global order. As we watch what happens next, one thing is clear. Knowledge is power. Staying informed is crucial. So maybe the thing to leave you with is this. What do you think is the single most significant consequence of this new engine for the future of international stability? What's the one ripple effect that stands out most to you?